Thank you for joining us for this Hikvision density control webinar. My name is Chris Reeson. I'm part of the pre-sales technical team, and I will give you a brief overview of the density control solution. So why are we offering the density control solution? As you're aware, there's many premises and businesses that are restricting the quantity of people that are allowed on site at the moment. And that is a very manual process of somebody standing at the door and counting somebody in and counting somebody out to keep them within the thresholds. So with the density control solution, we're able to do the counting of people in and the counting of people out and generate over occupancy alarms using a variety of solutions. We can do it from a standalone camera solution all the way up to multiple site Hike Central solution. So we'll go through that. To run through how the solution works, so as you approach the premises, one of our cameras will see you enter. It will count you into the building, and then via a graphical display either generated by the camera or the recorder or Hike Central, it will indicate how many people are on site and how many people are still able to enter. Once we've reached capacity, we're able to trigger that there is no more capacity to enter, or if it goes over capacity, we can generate alarms as required. The system works in reverse. When people are leaving, they're counted out from the camera. It updates the graphical display, which in turn indicates that there is additional capacity for people to enter. So running through the solutions, we have a number of solutions. The first one is a single door eco solution. So what this consists of is a people counting camera mounted over the doorway, and the information can be taken from the camera either via the web page, via IVMS 4200, or connected to an iSeries NVR. If using just the camera on its own, we can overlay the image onto the camera that indicates how many people are on site and how many people can still enter. As you can see on the screen, we're also able to black out the camera image, so you don't actually get the image from the camera, we just get the graphical display and the text information of how many people there are. When the text is red, it means do not enter. When the text is green, it means we're good to enter, and it indicates how many people are allowed to enter. The camera can generate an audible alarm or contact trigger alarm to indicate if it is over temperature. And all these alarms can be sent through to IVMS if connected. Moving to the single door pro solution. So again, we're using one of our cameras. So it's either a people counting camera or a 7-line camera or an AccuSense camera connected to an iSeries NVR. And the iSeries NVR is running our density control firmware. Just as a note, the density control firmware is also the firmware that's able to run the temperature screening cameras if required, so it can all be done from one unit. The graphical display on the iSeries NVR is slightly different and it's a little more aesthetically pleasing. So we get the graphical display of the red as the no entry and the green as the entry. And we again see the count of how many people are on site and how many people are okay to enter. And again, we can generate the audible alarms or the contact trigger alarms or the push notification alarms as required. Using the same idea with the with our cameras, again, the people counting, the 7 series or the AccuSense, we can also couple with a Deep in Mind NVR, and using the 7-line or the AccuSense, this will give us the ability to run facial recognition if required, or run mass detection as required, as the camera is counting people in and counting people out at the same time. And again, we can generate all the alarms and audible triggers as required. We get a slightly different graphical display with the Deep in Mind. We still get in the bottom left-hand side the density control of how many people can enter and not enter. But we also get on the right-hand side the images of the people entering. Moving on to the multiple door solution. So If a premises has multiple entrances and exits, we would use one of our cameras again, so the people counting, or the 7 series of the AccuSense connected to an I-series NVR. The I-series NVR will group the cameras. So when you're configuring the system, you configure how many cameras are in a relative group. So if there's 2 entrances, you group the cameras into a single group, and then that way the NVR knows to count in and out from 2 different entrances. Obviously, as people are coming in and going from the respective entrances, the display is updated. The display is output on a HDMI from the I-series recorder. So if this is required locally, you would have to use splitting or encoding devices to get the signals to the required monitors. Again, multi-door solution using the same principle with the cameras, but the deep in mind NVR again. So again, we can group the doors into groups and be able to count up the multiple doors, and again using the additional features of the deep in mind for the facial recognition and the mask detection. Moving to the Hike Central solution, so we can add the people counting cameras direct to Hike Central, or if there is an NVR, we can still add them via the NVR or an I-series NVR to Hike Central. This can be used for a single site or multiple sites, so we can count, if it's multiple shops, for example, we can count shops in multiple locations and get the analytical data back centrally. We can use this to count how many people have been in the store, how many people have been out of the store, and we can run the reports from a central location to get an idea of how busy the premises are, and also generate the alarms required centrally or locally at the stores. The graphical display in the Hike Central solution is generated from the client software. So the computer running the client software can generate the graphical interface that you can see on screen. Again, we can generate all the required audible and real-time alarms from the Hike Central solution. Next, we have the digital signage solution. So using a people counting camera, we can connect direct to the digital signage solution. You can use an I-series NVR if you wish. The digital signage solution is available as a vertical, as screens, and as a digital signage box, which we'll go through a little bit later on. These will display the density control graphics, which obviously indicates how many people can and can't enter. But in addition to that, premises can run their own promotional videos or advertisements on the screen as they require. All the digital signage solutions are set up via free software that's available for download from our website. And once the digital signage is set up, it doesn't need the computer running to run the software, they'll just run standalone. This is just an example video showing people as they're entering and as they're leaving. It's counting up on the graphical display on the right hand side. So the system's now had the maximum amount of occupancy, so it's gone red. And as somebody's leaving, it's going to count down and say that it's available for 2 people to go in. In this video, we're showing the density control example. So you can see the screen on the left hand side. It's showing the density control. It's also showing the temperature screen on the camera. And the bottom section is from the store. The top left hand, top image, as you saw, as the maximum amount of people entered, that went red, indicating that they have to wait. This is a further video just showing it as an example of connecting the cameras technology to a traffic light system. So this is a third-party traffic light indicator that can be used as an additional verification as to whether people can enter. So as somebody entered the premises, we saw the digital signage vertical screen, the digital signage screen, and the traffic light indicator all go red to indicate to wait. This is just an example of how the traffic light system is wired on either the people counting camera or the back of an I-Series MBR. So just to recap what we've run through, we've got multiple different options for the installation, giving a flexible deployment, be it a single door to multiple sites nationwide. We've got real-time alerts being generated from the cameras, from the I-Series recorder, from the Deep in Mind recorder, or Hike Central. The high accuracy is using the Deep in Mind technology on the people counting cameras. It gives a 3D binocular stereo vision view, and using the deep learning technology, it allows for the camera to only count human as they're walking through. It doesn't count inanimate objects, so it helps with the accuracy. And the real-time display, as people enter and leave, we obviously get the updates on the screens. So just running through the products that we have as an option. So I've just gone through the people counting camera. So it needs to be the DS2CD 6825G0-I. Now, if you already have this camera installed in place, you can use the density control firmware on the camera and get all the functions that we've just gone through. The camera has a fixed 2mm lens, and as I say, it uses the 3D binocular stereo vision and the deep learning technology to improve accuracy for people counting. Next, we have the the new 7-line Deep in View cameras. So it's available as a dome camera or as a bullet camera. And this camera, in addition to being able to use with the density control, it also gives us the additional benefits of the Deep in View 7-line cameras. So we have the face capture, we have the facial comparison, we have the false alarm reduction, we have cue detection, we can use it as hard hat detection, people counting, human attributes, and vibration detection. And we can also use the AccuSense cameras. So these will provide mass detection as well, and they have some of the models have the option of audible and visual alarms. So the white light indicating as it goes into alarm. So just to recap, we've got the dual lens, which is a 3D technology recommended for multiple people entrances and exits simultaneously, gives a higher accuracy of detection. The 7-line Deep in View cameras provides the additional intelligent functions that are available, and the AccuSense is a cost-effective camera solution recommended for the small shops and premises. The Deep in Mind recorders is available as the IDS 6708 NXI, which is the standalone Deep in Mind unit. We can also use it with the 7 series Deep in Mind and the 9 series Deep in Mind. Just as a note, when running through with the cameras, we can have up to an occupancy of 100 with the Deep in Mind people counting camera, but when using the NVR or Hike Central, we can have up to 100,000. We offer a wide range of monitors to go with the solutions and switches. Running through the Hike Central solution, so not only are we able to generate the graphical interface at each of the client positions as to for people entry and exit, we can also plot in real time on the map system as to how many people are in a given premises at a time. So if you're monitoring multiple premises using the graphical map, we can see very clearly that there's X amount of people in one store and X amount of people in another. Using the dashboard, the BI reporting dashboard, we're able to generate people counting reports, which can all be scheduled to run automatically and emailed to the relevant people. These reports can be exported as PDFs or Excels to integrate into third-party systems. This is the digital signage box. So if you already have monitors in place, this digital signage unit allows for the setup of the density control, adding cameras into it and running the customer's own promotional information, and it'll output to a HDMI 4K signal. As the screen technology for the digital signage, we have the option of the screens, be it touch screen or the narrow bezel, or we have the vertical floor standing screens. That covers us for the Hikvision density control webinar. I'd like to thank you for joining us, and if you've got any questions, then please get in touch.